And we are live. Welcome to Office Hours with Arrow, a LinkedIn Live event hosted by Arrow leaders who care about what senior living looks like. I'm your host and producer, Rachel Sheehan, and today's topic is all about senior living design with my lovely guests, Gwyn and Meredith. So I'm going to toss it to Meredith first. Meredith, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Rachel. I'm excited to be here today with you and one of my other favorite humans, Gwyn. I am the Managing Director of Integration here at Arrow Senior Living. And just a little bit of background about me is I've actually worked my entire career in the senior living industry. The last decade I've spent project managing senior living, new developments, and renovation projects. So partnering with developers and operators such as Arrow and working alongside them throughout the design process. That's actually how I met Gwyn.
Very cool. I love that. Gwyn, your turn.
Meredith, I'm so happy we got to meet each other and we're a major part of each other's lives. So my name is Gwyn Rahmier. I am Managing Director of Brand Development. I have been with Arrow for the last 5 years. Kind of stumbled my way from the residential side of things into senior housing, actually by partnering as a vendor with Arrow for years prior to me jumping on board. So it's been very exciting. I get to work with wonderful people like Rachel and Meredith. We worked very closely for years before you came and joined the team, and we're so happy you did. So yeah, we're excited to be here.
I love that. And your title, Gwyn, I just want to dive into a little bit about, can you explain to us what brand development is?
What I interpret brand development to be, I like to say it's such a broad title that it's a fancy way of saying that I can kind of swerve into all the lanes from aesthetics to operations because everything affects the brand. So
she swerves into all of the lanes.
Guys, I cannot stay within a line. It's terrible.
And that's what I want to know. Like, from my understanding and what I've seen that you do, you're involved. I mean, what you do is so unique, I feel like, in our industry, and you're involved from the beginning to the end. So where do you start in that process?
There's a lot of players that are involved. There's a lot of players that are involved when it comes to a senior development. And we're fortunate enough that our partners see the value in bringing the operator in early. We've got a lot of very intelligent people that work diligently to make sure that, even from inception or the thought of something going somewhere, our analytics team works on the demand to make sure that we get the right demand for that location down to the location. And then really once they say, okay, we're good, they'll kind of throw it to the architect, myself, and we start to play. We start to roll things out and lay them out to see how we can get this community to fit that parcel of land and build what the community needs.
That's awesome. I know you're so involved too. I've seen you on the grounds with the construction crew and everything, and you're just like part of the team with them. And I think that's incredible. So I also want to say one of the reasons I was drawn to Arrow when I was looking for my internship back in the day was because I just thought, I walked into one of our communities and thought how beautiful it was. And it's not that stereotypical senior living that I had imagined in my head. And so I just want to thank you for making it that way for our residents and staff.
It takes a village. It takes a village. A lot of people touch a project. And I think it's great to see the direction that, I come from the residential side of things. And so obviously when you're not in senior housing, you don't really know what it is. Until you start to see and somebody shows you oh no, this is what senior housing is. Amanda, my favorite thing is Amanda's senior housing can be sexy. And so when she said that, I just remember laughing so hard. And then I see the communities. When I went to the first community, I was like, oh wow, this is not what I would expect senior housing to be. I think most people think of like nursing homes. And when you go to them now, they're incredible. They're, I think our communities are successful because it's very much of a fine line between residential and hospitality. And you kind of have to toe that line for people to feel comfortable. They don't want to live in a hotel, but they want to live in a nice community that gives you a warm feel and vibe. So yeah, I think Arrow and the partners with Arrow have done a great job to do that and to create lovely communities.
It's beautiful. That's awesome. So Meredith, I would love for you to kick us off with exactly what we're talking about today, and what direction we want to go.
Thank you. Yeah, we're going to do our format a little differently today. We are going to play a little game. I'm going to ask a couple of questions. Rachel, I'm going to ask you to be our contestant today and answer. And if anyone's watching, please feel free to chime in and put your answers in the chat. And then Gwen, our design expert, will go through the answers with a little more detail.
All right, I'm ready.
Ready? Are you sure? Okay.
Yep.
Question 1.
We're ready.
Choice. Which of the following design features are typically included in a senior apartment to enhance mobility? A, wider doorways. B, accessible closet shelving. C, walk-in showers. D, minimal flooring transitions. And E, all of the above.
Well, I've seen some of these things. So by that, because I've seen more than one, I got to say all of the above.
Rachel, you're correct. Yes, it is. It is all the above. So, I mean, one of the unique things, so senior apartment design, or just senior design in general, needs to be very thoughtful. I mean, folks don't have to come be with us. Like, they don't have to come live at our communities. They choose to do that. They choose to enhance and streamline and simplify their lifestyle. And so when you're doing the design of an apartment, even from the beginning, when you start to lay out the space, you only have so much space to work within, and you really do need to lay it out to how it's going to function best for those residents. Just to touch on a few things like the wider doorways. Why do we do a wider doorway? A lot of our residents have mobility devices that they need a little extra space to get through to make it comfortable. Some people are coming from homes that have like 24-inch doorways, and that's just it's not working out. Same thing with like the showers. I still, if I'm getting into a bathtub shower, I still sometimes trip or slip getting out. So we do walk-in showers with grab bars, and the closet shelving is a little bit lower, so people don't have to reach quite as far. So those are just a few of the things. But yeah, of course, we want to do anything to make it functional. Okay, hit it again. What's the next one, Meredith? What do you have?
Next question. This is a true or false. Downsizing to a senior apartment always means giving up most of your personal belongings due to the lack of storage space. True or false?
I don't like my answer, but I want to say true because you're downsizing.
Rachel, no. We do not have to give up the things that mean the most to us. This is a great opportunity to purge, right? Like, we all need to purge. I need to purge in my own space. But it doesn't mean giving up the things that mean the most to you. You're going to thoroughly go through and bring with you the most meaningful things. But as far as like the space itself, the way that the apartments are designed and laid out, they are made for regular residential sized furniture. So like, it really all comes down to thoughtfully planning it and how you're going to lay it out. And anymore, to be honest with you, like, everything has the ability to have storage. Like, beds now have storage, nightstands, dressers, coffee tables. Oh my gosh, I recently just saw a dining chair where Wild, I know. So everything has the ability to have storage. And also like utilizing the walls, go vertical with it. You've got, 8, 9, 10-foot walls in your apartment. There's all kinds of different pieces that have like ladder bookshelves and desks and just shelving units. So yeah, we can help you figure out how to fit the things that mean the most to you and function well. So
like you really do a good job. You really do a good job thinking about like all the areas. I know one thing you like to do is even have ottomans with storage space, things that you wouldn't even think about. So really being creative in what you can do in the design.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Okay. Next question. What type of amenity spaces are typically available in a senior living community? This is multiple choice. A, nightclubs. B, childcare centers. C, fitness centers and social gathering spaces. Or D, pet grooming services.
I wish we had nightclubs all the time, but
you guys, I know resident services makes the nightclubs up in there.
I was gonna say
it's wild.
I know this answer because I used to lead fitness in the communities, so it is the fitness centers and social gathering spaces.
Yes, that is it. Rachel, what's your favorite amenity space?
Oh gosh, that's hard. I feel like definitely just like the community rooms, because that's where most of the fun extra things happen. I don't know. There's so many good spaces. Theaters are awesome. If a community has a pool, that's an awesome amenity. There's just so many good ones.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like every community is a little bit different. Like we do have a lot of our newer developments that have more standardized amenity spaces. And it's neat because we really kind of fine-tuned it over time, based on like your experience, Rachel, as resident services, like how folks utilize the space. And of course, all of our team within Arrow giving feedback of, this space gets used for this and this space gets used for that. And maybe we need a little more space here, a little less space here. That's been really helpful when creating these communities and planning them out. If you need more exercise space for your fitness classes on your chair, like chair exercises, which are huge, maybe we need to give a little more square footage to the fitness center. So yeah, I think that your feedback has been huge.
For sure. I love that. And I think another space I was thinking about is just like our outdoor courtyard spaces. I think those are well thought out and really fun. Gosh, there's so many good spaces to host things.
Everybody loves
yours. What's one of your favorite spaces?
What's one of my favorites? So a few years ago, we started doing these demo kitchens. Okay, so we've had demo kitchens for years, which are really neat. They and not every senior community out there has them. So it's definitely been something that's a little more unique to our brand. But we've had demo kitchens, which are just like really nice big kitchens to cook in. And typically there's some tables and chairs and stuff that sit there. But it's meant to have like demonstrations or do communal cooking. We have a lot of residents that love to bake or, make a big lunch, etc. Or we do cooking demos with our wonderful culinary teams. So what we did was we kind of expanded it. And the thought was to have almost like a neighborhood clubhouse vibe going on. So basically over double the size of these spaces to give you that huge kitchen, also to have dining space. So typically you'll have a huge kitchen. There's a large family style dining. So almost like 8 to 10 people can sit there and dine together. And then there's a living room in there. So, I mean, most of these spaces are close to 1,000 square feet, which is like the size of a home almost, some smaller homes. And it is just one huge open concept to where not only the residents that live there can have functions amongst themselves. But really the thought behind it was to have a lot of family members want to come and reserve it, and there's no cost to it. But so when they say, well, we're not going to be able to go to mom's house for her birthday anymore because it's kind of, they downsize. No, like there's really no excuse anymore, because this is a huge space that can accommodate like 20 to 30 people, and it's yours, it's private, it's yours, and it's meant for you guys to gather. So that has become my favorite space in the communities, because I do hear of people using it, and it's very touching to hear that people are utilizing it how it's intended. Mm-hmm. So that's my Meredith. What is yours?
I do love the demo spaces that we have, but I mean, I'm real simple. I like to eat and I like to talk to people. So you will typically find me in one of our beautiful restaurants.
Yep. Hey, and that's where the happy hour happens. That's where the nightclub could be. Who knows?
I don't blame you. I mean, we do have some pretty incredible food. So, and the restaurants they're a great vibe. They're a great vibe.
For sure. I love that. I wanted to ask you both what your favorite parts of the design process are.
Meredith, go first.
I can go first. Oh goodness, that's tough. I mean, honestly, in my previous position, like I truly enjoyed it all from start to finish. The collaboration that I got to experience with working with the architect, the interior designer, the commercial food service kitchen designer, low voltage, general contractor, you name it. Like as Gwen said, it really takes a village. So to be involved in the entire process and then also to be there at the end, it's just such a rewarding feeling to see and be a part of. A lot of what my main focus on when I was project managing these types of projects is I was responsible for our product procurement process, or really working through the FF&E, or furniture, fixtures, and equipment. So working with designers like Gwen and going through the process of selecting the frames, the fabrics, the accessories. That process alone can take a lot of time, and there's a lot of thought that has to go in there. And so working with someone like Gwen, who is so thoughtful, sometimes too thoughtful, is really an amazing experience, again, to be a part of, because she really is somebody who thinks about the resident and the end user and what's going to impact them. So taking those selections that take us, couple of days to get through easily, and then working with the vendors to get it ordered on time and within budget is a whole nother step of the process. And then one of the final steps, which is when I got to spend a lot of time with Gwen, was being there at the end for the install of all of these selections that we worked on over the last few months. So that entire part of the overall process is really amazing to be included in.
Meredith, like the role that you have and that our partners have, it's critical because there are so many steps to it. I would echo and say, like, the collaboration is probably my favorite part of it, because you do get to work with so many different people along the way, whether it's the architect, the partnership with the design firm, the construction company. Our internal team who, has a hand in the layouts, et cetera. It's really a beautiful thing to see everybody come together and have this joint effort to create such an amazing space that is thoughtful. I would say I have two favorite parts, so I have a lot, but I love laying out the building initially. It's like a puzzle, and the way, working with an architect to take this and this is what's going to fit and these are the boxes within it, and start maneuvering and massaging it to not only fit within the footprint, which is like a game sometimes. I know Stephanie and I have sat there with her and her pencil, just, drawing lines and how can we do something better. It's very cool to collaborate on with several people. But it's being thoughtful of the end user being the resident, the employee, like how can you make this function well and how can you make it efficient and what have we learned from past communities and past buildings that we've built that we can tighten up or just really make better for all the users, all the way down to like, how are you going to get your groceries delivered, or how are you going to get all your food in? Where is your trash getting picked up? How are the residents going to get from their parking spaces to an elevator while they have four things in their hand? I mean, it is like a puzzle. So that's probably one of my favorite parts of it is it's how we can lay it out to make it effective and efficient. And then of course, like the FF&E, which Meredith touched on, that is the fun part. That's where you get the furniture, you get the frames, you get the jewelry or accessories to go on everything, and you start to actually see the personality of the community take shape. And yeah, that's the exciting part.
And you're so good at that part, because I think I'm a visual person, but I cannot look at a fabric square or multiple fabrics, because you do a lot of like 2 or 3 tone, and be like, oh yeah, this is going to go great in this space with this wall covering and paint. Like, I don't know how you do that, but
you got it. You probably need to.
Well, speaking of visual, we have a question, Gwen, for you. What are your true feelings about purples and cranberry colors? Tell the class.
I was hoping you would ask that question. Well, it was funny. Amanda and I have been working together on some form or fashion of design for like a decade, since we were partnered in my past life. And we both are very opinionated. And I love another chief in the room. Okay. Like, I do love to have a collaborative session. And so when Amanda and I start working through fabrics, I think it was Westbury. I think she's referring to Westbury.
It was Madison, because I think I was there.
No, it's definitely Westbury. So Westbury's logo has cranberry in it. And she's like, is that cranberry? And I'm like, look, I know, like, I'm not much of a red person, but this is just going to fit. Like, we're just going to have a little dash of it here and there. And the community turned out pretty good, Amanda. Like, the logo looks lovely. She was full occupancy in a year. So I think we did it. I think it was the community that did it.
It's the process. I love it. There is another question too. So what do you see changing as far as design and function and aesthetics in the coming years for upcoming seniors like Mara? Oh, Mara.
Oh my God, Mara. Like, if I could design to your aesthetic, Mara has a beautiful aesthetic. So it's going to take a lot to get Mara to move in. But no, I think I see for the future, kind of like what I touched on before, is right. You have to have a fine line of hospitality and residential. The population we serve currently, they're not quite used to the hospitality side of the aesthetics yet. They're coming from home that they've been in for 80 years, 75 years. And so it's kind of towing that line as we start to evolve, and as everybody starts to age, we're used to having more, right? Like, they're used to having less. They didn't have indoor pools. They didn't have all these things that they grew up with. So of course they're just like, wow, this is fancy. This is a lot. As people are aging, they're going to be expecting those things. And we're really trying to get ahead of that and take the feedback of how these spaces function and how these spaces are used, as we talked about earlier, because it's going to evolve. Same thing from restaurant style dining. Like, we have amazing food, but we also have people that are very busy. So, like, does everybody want to dine 3 meals a day in a restaurant? I think we're already seeing a pattern of that changing. So we're really putting a focus on our bistros, which it's one of my favorite spaces in the community. And it's got that grab and go aspect to it, which a lot of people want, that fast casual ability to eat. Like, they don't necessarily want to do a full dining experience. So I really think that as we start to evolve, we'll see more things, like a lot of outdoor spaces. I think we learned a lot from COVID. I think the industry learned a lot from COVID, and we're putting a lot of that knowledge to use. in our developing side, outdoor space has been, oh my gosh, huge emphasis on it. We all learned that. So whereas I think it's always been an afterthought because it's, it's how big of a building can we get onto a space, and not really thinking about the outdoor space that's there that it leaves. Really, that's something you have to be thoughtful of now is people want to be outdoors. They want to spend time outside. And I don't think that is a short-term trend. That's something that'll carry. So yeah,
I think it's enhanced amenity spaces. So,
yeah.
Maybe a nightclub, who knows? I've seen a community recently that had a putting green, like on the third floor terrace. I was like, that's incredible. Things that we didn't have a couple of years ago. So.
Yeah, I definitely think that goes into your loving the puzzle, Gwyn, because I think it helps you problem, like you hear of these things and then you get to problem solve and make it different and fun. So that's awesome. Do you want to share a little bit about your inspiration when it comes to designing? I mean, every community we have is different. And so, I mean, they're all equally beautiful in my eyes. So how do you get that inspiration to make them what they are?
I think a lot of it starts like when we select the site, the location, we start to do kind of research on the area, and do some comps of what not only what senior housing's in the area, but also like what is our surroundings. We're going to be the bright shiny object, right? Like because we're new, but we don't want to stick out like a sore thumb. I think it's key to make sure that your community fits architecturally, color-wise, down to all the exterior finishes, landscaping. It needs to fit like it was meant to be there. So that's something to be really thoughtful of, and a lot of it is taking the architecture from the area. Maybe you're in a traditional area that is being redeveloped, but they're still keeping a lot of the older aspects of it. That's kind of where for our Boulevard St. Peter's, we did a lot of archways to take on from some of the cathedral windows at the church across the street, and gave it more of that traditional vibe. So, yeah, a lot of it comes from just the area that it's in and making sure that it can fit in well.
That's awesome. I think it's incredible what you do because I'm about to move and I'm like, I don't have the eye for it. My mom luckily has an eye for design. So I'm going to have her help me. But I'm like, you have to do multiple communities. And sometimes you're working on multiple at the same time. So I don't know how you keep it straight. You are just Superwoman.
Oh, no. It's everybody. It takes a village for sure.
Yeah.
It's fun though. It's never dull.
Never a dull moment.
Well, there's always some kind of project going on. And the neat thing is that like, just when you wrap up one, it's almost like one of our other ones are going to go through a refresh phase, which is really just as exciting when you start to do refreshes and renovations, because you have folks that have lived there and you get to excite them again and show that like, wow, we're going to get you all new carpet. We're going to get you some new artwork, new furniture. And it's like Christmas there. And so being able to do that within a building that, the new developments are fun, of course, and it's great and fulfilling to see them thrive. But when you go into a renovation and you get to start to enhance what's already there for folks, it's a whole nother feeling. So it's very, very exciting. And we have several that we're embarking on now, which I'm beyond excited about.
I love it. Well, ladies, I think we did it. I think that was awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for being here with me. And for everyone watching, we'll be back next week with new guests, same time, same place. So we will see you then. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks, guys.